welcome to another edition of Kandily Kesha. It is again a pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, I'm going to need everybody's help tonight. I need share, 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 share. We are coming off of a busy week, and there has been so much on in the city, and there has been so much going on in the lives of people who live in our city. Nothing is more present and prevalent on my mind than crime right now. Crime, I want to say to you, while a lot of people are saying crime is up, I want you to know that crime has been up for quite some time now. In January of 2020, when we entered office, by March, we had eclipsed the number of homicides than the previous year, and in any other previous year up to about 5 years. And so that was very alarming to me. And at that time, I made an appeal to our city manager, to the mayor, and to the police chief. At that time, at a March meeting, I believe. I have to go back and look, but you can look as well. But we wanted to know, what was it within the arsenal of the city of Savannah, within our coffers, within our resources, what was it that we could do to reduce the episodes of homicide, to reduce the episodes of violent crime in our community? And in short order, there was no response, nothing tangible, that is. And so here we are, 2.5 years later, facing a crime epidemic. We know that the pandemic essentially has exposed pre-existing vulnerabilities that we as citizens have here in Savannah, by way of poverty, by way of the housing crises, and crime. And so these pieces have become exasperated by a failed administration's response, thereby resulting in what we see now. I want you to also know that we have not tackled collectively as a council this crime issue. Therefore, we don't know if something could actually be done about it or not, if we are not being invited to the table where we were elected to have these tough conversations. Right now, we have a city manager who has never entered into an executive session because it is the mayor's decision and the city attorney's decision, Van Johnson and Bates Lovett, for us not to go into executive session to have these conversations about personnel within our police department. What are we doing? Is this a staffing issue? Where are our resources? And if we collectively as a council that you all elected are not able to engage in conversation to discuss these matters, and you leave it solely to one person to tackle the crime issue, I submit to you that that's why we are where we are. And so there is more that I have to say about where we are, but I thought I would be remiss if I did not talk about the obvious that is so prevalent among us here in the city today. I have a recap of the conference I recently attended, and I want to share with you a lot of what we were exposed to, as well as what we learned. But I want to forego that because I had presented to me a situation involving one of our citizens where I had been talking about this issue where crime is concerned, where homelessness is concerned, and my concern for the allocation of resources to nonprofit organizations who were not living up to the responsibility of the resources we had given. And I have offered a strong critique in some regard, and that critique, unfortunately, was not accepted. And the individual, Katrina Bostic, went on to file an ethics complaint against me as if that was going to silence me where this issue is concerned. And I want to say that as a result of the fact that the ethics complaint was reported widely, that basically opened the door for many citizens to reach out to me and to acknowledge that they were also um, individuals who had experienced what I was talking about by way of family promise not answering the phone, not being able to get the resources that the city expected them to administer. And so I want to say that when I make acknowledgement of anything that's not working in our city, it is my intent to get it to work better. But you also have to know before I go public with it, I have been working behind the scenes. And so if I'm seeing the resources of the city of Savannah being allocated to individuals who I know are uniquely connected to the mayor political wise and where his campaign is concerned, I'm going to raise a brow to say, okay, is this some kind of a political favor, if you will? Or are we really doing what we say we are doing with those resources? And so, notwithstanding the fact that I know the organization's bearing capacity and that I ran it for almost 10 years. So, when God puts you in a place, recognize, my friends, that it's for a reason. It may be in your mind a season, but it is for a reason where He will allow you to be in positions where those connections will be made so that individuals will be exposed and that the people who He loves and care for will be helped. And if He uses you as a vessel, don't let anyone silence your voice where His work is concerned. And so that's what I live by. That's what I ascribe to. And I'm not going to let anyone make me quit or make me shut up where this work is concerned. But what we will do is we will continue to go forth, as I've always said, without favor, not looking for any favors from anyone, without fear. I'm not afraid of anything that these people have done to me or will try to do to me, and without affection. I am not engaging in this work in any way where I'm showing favoritism to someone who is related to me or a friend of mine. But what we are going to do is go forth in a very transparent and authentic way, which brings me to our guest here today. And so I had this gentleman, he among many people. And again, I want you to like, and share, because I'm going to need your help tonight. I don't give a hill of beans about a political campaign. I don't care about what it is that I have and I don't have where resources are concerned about this campaign. But what I do care about are the citizens of Savannah. And I want to devote my platform and my voice to helping someone who I know has not been helped and who I know deserves and need the help that our citizens can give. So I want us to do something very special tonight. I want us to do something very special tonight. And the next time you hear my voice, I want you to be able to hear me say, "Well done, Savannah. Well done. Thank you for your good and faithful service." And so tonight I have a gentleman who was among many people after that ethics complaint was filed and after it was reported broadly in terms of trying to, again, sully me, insult me, and discredit me. It worked out to the favor of many in our community. And this gentleman, along with several others, validated my critique of Family Promise by acknowledging in writing via Facebook Messenger, text messages, their plight. And as a result of that, unfortunately, this gentleman still has not received the help that he needs and now has to transition from our community. But I want you to tell us your story, sir. Before you go, I want you to tell us your story and what your experience has been here. And without divulging too much of your personal information, I know your wife works for a very reputable chain store where she's actually in management at the mall, and she's getting a transfer, fortunately. And you all are still kind of stuck a little bit financially. But tell us as much as you can without divulging your personal information or compromising too terribly much things related to your personal life.
Okay, well, I want to start off first by thanking you for allowing me to voice my concerns about the city of Savannah and about the mayor here in Savannah, Georgia, that's not helping his citizens as he should. I have been in a situation since COVID-19 started where I have lost plenty of good jobs that I have had. One at being the board of education itself, um, to where my family and my children have not been in safe environments. We have not been feel loved here in Savannah. I have been here in Savannah for 17 years now. And how Savannah was back then is not how Savannah is now. Savannah, to me, if you want me to sum up Savannah, Savannah right now to me is, hate to say it this way, is for the whites. It's not for us. It's not for the blacks. It's not for the people who made Savannah the way Savannah is now. Um, I have been struggling financially because of Family Promise not giving out the money that Family Promise had to help the community. Katrina Barsick, I got in contact with myself to tell her my situation. I was told that I could not receive help. My family couldn't receive help because my wife was pregnant at the time. And that when she have a C-section, they don't want to be liable for anything at all dealing with her pregnancy. And I explained to them that at that moment, I was not able to, nor my wife was able to constantly pay for a hotel with 4 children. It's just something that we as a community, something a father or mother should not have to do. And that is to sit here and have to pay 300 to 500 to sometimes $700 a week for a hotel and get no help, no type of hotel vouchers. I got in contact with Family Promise. I asked Family Promise, "Do you guys offer hotel vouchers?" I was told that there was no hotel vouchers to be given out, which to me I thought, wow, if this is something that is for the city of Savannah, if this is something that supposed to be for the citizens of Savannah when they are in need of help, and we all know that now is the time that Savannah needs help. It's a lot of families out here that needs the help, that is leaning on the help of Family Promise, that is leaning on the help of 211, and we are not getting the help that we are needing. And it's now making people have to leave a city that they love and have to try to start somewhere new, as me having to go now and try to start somewhere new instead of being here in the city that we love, being here in the city that I was raised in. And it's, to me, it's very heartbreaking. It hurts my heart because my mother, who lays at Woodville Cemetery, now has to leave her here and go all the way somewhere else. My 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 life has been here in Savannah. I have started my family here in Savannah, being raised without having a family, being raised with only adopted mother who is from Savannah, who died here as a cancer survivor in Savannah while still raising me as her child, as her adopted child. I have a lot of history and love for Savannah, but lately it has been seeming that Savannah not loving me, not loving my family, not loving the community that the Savannah is supposed to. And many times, if I have reached out to the mayor and I have tried to talk to the mayor ways that maybe the citizens can help, or what can we do to further stop this homelessness? Because I have known a lot of people, and actually one of my neighbors, who was actually in a group home with me, was going through the same thing. And I said, okay, maybe it's just me. I'm gonna have you reach out to Family Promise and see exactly where you get at with it. She was not given the help that she was needed. She was put out of her apartment as I was. And now she's going through the same thing with 3 kids. I have 4. She has 3. Living home to home, trying to find people to basically shelter us and help us in a time of needs, because we can't even go to a shelter because the day shelters is full. So it's basically, I was told by Katrina Bosses out of her own mouth that basically, it's better for you to stay at a hotel. But I can't stay at a hotel and pay for a hotel, pay for my kids' meal, have a little refrigerator that I can't put nothing in, having my kids sleep in one bed. I have three girls and one boy, and even though my kids are smaller and even though my kids are little, they still understand that something is not right. They understand that, you know, daddy mama is going through something, but something still is not right. We're sitting here at a hotel day in and day out, struggling, literally struggling. And me as a person, I grew up with depression. I grew up with anxiety. I grew up without having no one in my corner. So for me as a black man and as a father, I'm trying to teach myself how to continue to go on. Um, Even though we're going through so much, I'm trying to teach myself how to continue to fight for my children who look up to me daily, who look up to my wife daily, who understands that mama and daddy is fighting day in and day out to be someone, to be that person that we need them to be. But it's the little help that we're getting in the community that is really messing us up. Now I'm not going to say spiritually, but messing us up devotionally in our hearts, because it's like we have to fight continuously day out and day in for them. But when the money is low and you're homeless and you don't have a place to go, and you wondering if in the morning I don't have this money, my child not going to have nowhere to lay their head at, it drives people to really hurt themselves and hurt their children. And we're seeing that a lot in our community. We're seeing that a lot around the world, where people is literally taking their lives and their kids' lives because of the way that their community is treating them, because they're not able to get the help that they need. And I just wish that Savannah, the mayor here, Mayor Van Johnson, the mayor that we have elected, stop worrying about building buildings that don't we Savannah don't need right now, and worried about the community, worry about the people of this community who love Savannah, who don't want to see Savannah hurt the way Savannah is hurting right now. And we all can say that Savannah is literally hurting right now. The people of Savannah is hurting right now. The mothers of Savannah is hurting right now. The fathers in Savannah is hurting right now. Our children that goes to school daily and have to worry about gun violence and have to worry about all this stuff. We are hurting as a community as a whole. And it hurts my heart even more that a community that I love, a community that I have went out here and fought so hard for a lot of the times, that I have to leave this community. I have to try to start somewhere fresh, somewhere new. I have to worry because I have one eviction in my whole life. I can't get one place here in Savannah. No one is looking at it. They look at us as if we have an eviction, that we're no one, that we have no value, we have no nothing in life. And it hurts me as a black man, because when I go out here and I tell people, hey, I have kids, I have somebody who looks up to me day in and day out. At night, when we in these hotel rooms and they tell me that they love me and they tell me, Dad, it's gonna be all right. And I sit there and I cry almost every night, because I'm like, my kids is telling me that it's gonna be all right. But in my heart, and what this community is showing me that we're not all right. And I
Right.
have to tell them, you
And
know,
I,
be
I want to I want to say to you now, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I need the uh, city to hear you. And I want to make this disclaimer. You reached out to me multiple times actually before I responded, because I'm not a messenger person,
right.
unfortunately. But when I finally received your message and responded to you, um, you shared these same sentiments to me, and my heart went out to you. And right now, you all are still being told that there are no resources. You have another opportunity. You have an opportunity in another city, and so I want us to be able to help you get there. I want you to, producer, if we could put his Cash App in the chat. I'm not raising money for me, my campaign, for my mama, my daddy, for me being in the car accident. I want to raise money for this gentleman and his family tonight. What is your Cash App, sir?
My cash app is capital KVNG, and it's culture with a K. So that's KULTURE.
Okay, give it to us one more time. It's dollar sign.
KVN KULTURE.
Okay, if you can flash that, producer, and keep that up. I want you all to contribute to this gentleman tonight. If you do not have Cash App, you can inbox me and I can try to connect the two of you. But I want to be able to help him. And producer, if we can get that Cash App on the screen, if you need it again, just let him know. Um, we receive millions of dollars via the federal government. And the millions of dollars that we have received between Chatham County, the Board of Education, and the city of Savannah, um, I do not ascribe to the notion that we can't help everybody. This county has received enough in federal subsidy to help everybody in need somehow. And it is unfortunate that we have not done that. Again, I want you to know that this is public money and the resources are intended for the public, not to increase people's salaries, but it is to help those individuals who are in need. If you look at the issues that we currently have in our city with regard to street crime and gun violence, what this gentleman is demonstrating to you and laying out and sharing with you is a part of the problem that we have in our city. And I don't see the Cash App. I don't know if I'm not able to see it, but if you could give it to us one more time.
It's dollar sign KVNG KULTURE.
Okay. We want you to be able to contribute to him tonight, to help his family, because this is the underbelly of what's going on in our community that contributes to what we are seeing play out in the community today. So when individuals are not able to earn a livable wage, we don't have time to go into how you have had very reputable jobs and how those jobs pay a low wage, which cause you to have to get 2 and 3 jobs between you and your wife, and how that takes you away from your family. When people say that mothers and fathers are responsible for crime in our city, well, if mothers and fathers are responsible for the crime that their children commit, we as leaders are responsible for the wages that these mothers and fathers are not earning to keep them home with their children. But if you're having to work 2 and 3 jobs, leaving your kids home alone or home with someone who's not going to provide as much care as you would, we thereby make them subject to the elements of our community where they will get into trouble. And so it's just an avalanche of problems. And until we address the root cause of our problems, we are going to continue to see things like this play out. Now, one of the things I want to say, well, two actually, and that is this is happening to all demographics in our city. White people are struggling too.
Right.
Um, I just bumped into a server at one of my favorite restaurants here in Savannah. Among one of my favorites is Bow Tie Barbecue. And it's one of my favorites because it's easy to get to and they have a great price point. But one of the servers told me that he was leaving because he could not afford. This is a full grown white man in Savannah. He's leaving because he cannot afford housing. And he lives in a house that he shares with 2 roommates. And it's becoming unaffordable. So what we are now seeing is that not only is Savannah not for Black people, Savannah is not for working class people of any race. Savannah is not for our vulnerable uh, population. Right now, we have many citizens struggling with water bills, and we have a new discovery that you can't come out of your water bill crises because our department is basically not checking meters. We're offering estimates, thereby increasing people's water bill. In addition to that, the water bill is now on a different billing cycle that was not communicated to the public. And if you are late, you now are assessed a $50 late fee on top of a bill that you probably can't pay. And you get that water turned off, you're now in a situation where it's even more of a challenge to get a new lease or a new opportunity with a new place. And like in your case, once you have that eviction on your record, it becomes increasingly more difficult. And the information that you gave me related to the eviction, that was really unfair. And so we see that uh, there is no cohesiveness in the various departments or governmental entities or our nonprofit community when it comes to communicating with each other to make sure that we're tackling this and to make sure that we have accountability for the resources. And then ultimately, there's no compassion. I saw a picture of your babies. They're little, they're tiny babies, little kids
Very little.
who are in the corner of a hotel room with their toys. And I saw you had stacks and stacks and stacks of bins with their things along the walls.
Yes.
And we further know that there's data and statistics that show that when kids do not have good nutrition, that becomes a factor in how they are educated. It becomes a factor in their behavior. And I want to say, according to some of the hotels you've told me you all have stayed in, these are not some of the better hotels. These are
I,
risky. You have sex trafficking, you have prostitution, you have drugs, um, you have violent crime occurring all around you. And so
yeah.
you have been able to make it and sustain here, and you all have to move. And as a result of that, um, you need additional resources to even help with the move. And so that's why I wanted you to offer your Cash App so that we can help get some of the expenses down to help you have relative of ease of transition. So give us that Cash App again.
It's gonna be $ KVNG KULTURE. That's King Culture.
Okay. And you mentioned that you have, between the hotels, you've also stayed with family members and friends. And we know how those overcrowded conditions cause a strain to those relationships. Tell me about
Right.
that.
So having to stay with people is it's more hard because you basically have to live under someone else's rules. Not only living under somebody else's rules, but you basically, if I have 4 kids, I mean, I'm coming into somebody else's house with already too many responsibilities. And not having immediate family here in Savannah is hard because I have basically no one to really go to really say, hey, give me a month to be here and let me figure something out. I've been in a hotel for 9.5 months, almost close to a year. And as the last week, I've been staying with someone. And even staying with someone, it's too much because yet and still, my family is still around a bunch of people that they know or they either don't know. And to me, it's just still unsafe. I wouldn't feel safe and I wouldn't feel better until they have their own, where they can call their own home, where they can say, this is mine. For the last 9 months, they haven't had that opportunity to say, this is mine. Everything that they had is gone. Everything that they used to have is all gone. lost everything. So it's very hard. And I talked to other families as well that's going through the same thing, and it's a lot of strains. It's a lot. Even if you're married or if you're in a relationship, going through this really damage your marriage. It would damage your relationship with your spouse. I can attest to that. Like, this have really hurted 2 years of marriage only for going through this situation. Nothing else, but just this situation. And it's sad, but every day I'm a spiritual person. I pray for my family.
Okay, I don't know if you all, his battery probably died. We're gonna get that information for his Cash App in the chat. He was just talking about the strain that this situation has had on his family, the strain that it's had on his marriage, and how he, as a man, has personally struggled um, mentally being in this situation. And it scares me to hear that, he made the association of this is why people hurt themselves or hurt their children. And that brings me to this new hotline that's being offered across the nation. It's formerly the suicide hotline, but now you can call for any issue, whether it's sexual assault, um, uh, and you're in the need of a crisis response, thoughts of suicide, or just dealing with everyday life and you need somebody to talk to, you need a professional. There is a free number that you can call nationwide. It's 988 988. No one should have to struggle or suffer alone. And so, if you do not have a family member or a friend or someone, a neighbor to talk to and to share, let's see, I think he just said, okay, log back in. Um, if you don't have a family member or someone to share your thoughts with or your fears, it could be detrimental to getting through every day. And we do not want anyone to suffer alone. There is help. And again, that number is 988. And if we can put that number up, I don't know if we have the um, Cash App available, but I will put it in the chat before we leave. If he doesn't log back on in the next few minutes, we'll put that in the chat. But what I want you to do is to like, and share this particular show. And we want to show this man the love he and his family have not received in Savannah. We want him to be able to experience some semblance of love from Savannah before they leave. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry, phone died.
Okay, if you give us that time, we were talking about a number that I want to share with you, and it's a crisis nationwide crisis hotline, and it's 98. Just to have somebody to talk uh, through these situations because we know it is difficult. But if you will please again that Cash App.
Okay, it's gonna be money sign KVNG KULTURE, and that's King Culture. Culture with a K.
Okay, so it's K B as a boy, N G
It's V as in Victor.
E as okay. They sound so it's K as in Keisha, as in Victor, N as in Nancy, G as in go, and culture with a K
Yes.
in a dollar. Okay. So we will make sure we get that up and I will report back how the viewers of the show showed you love and then I'll share the same with individuals when we come back next later in the week. But in, I want you to be encouraged And we wish you well in your next travel, in your next stop. And keep in touch with me and let me know how you and the family are doing.
Yes, ma'am, I definitely will. And thank you for allowing me to be able to speak on this and speak on the issues that definitely Savannah needs to fix and fix fast.
Yes, sir. And we'll probably bring you back wherever you find yourself just to let us know how you're doing.
Oh, yes, ma'am, definitely will. I love to sit down and talk about some of these things.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Listen, Savannah, listen. Uh, there's so much going on. And the sad part is his story is the same story of so many Savannians. So many Savannians are having these same experiences. And you have to know that it takes a lot out of a person to be in a position of need and to have to ask for help. I would imagine that that is exceptionally um, more exaggerated for men, for a man um, to be in his position, the head of a household, where you have little tiny faces looking up to you, and a wife who has an expectation that you are supposed to care for her. And my heart goes out to everybody. My heart goes out to everybody. This situation is reminiscent of what's happening. And I don't have my glasses tonight, so I'm not going to be able to see my comments until after I get off. Um, my my luggage was lost with my glasses, and I haven't received it yet. So we'll get through all of this. But listen, we want you all to show some KGC love. We want you to show this gentleman some Candidly Kesha love. We want you to show him some Savannah love. Um, and I know, I know what we need. I know how to fix it. We just need the political will to get it done. I do want to add that this situation does not rest squarely and solely on the shoulders of the city of Savannah. I will continue to say that Savannah is in Chatham County. Savannah is in Chatham County, Georgia. That means that our Chatham County government, as well as our state government, should have just as much of a response to the issues that we face in this city. This crime issue that we have in our city should not solely be tackled by Savannah, although the majority of the crime happens here. We have a sheriff's department. We have Georgia State Patrol. But if you have a leader who's not willing to cry out or make an appeal for mutual aid, we will continue to be in this situation. This should be a all hands on deck effort. When we had people being threatened and lives of people who were touring here and visiting here, we had an immediate response. But we now see that we have lives being taken of everyday residents, and nothing is done. There's no response. That's unacceptable. I want you all to demand that the people you sent to City Hall be a part of these conversations and decisions to address the issues related to crime, homicide, and gun violence. The City of Savannah's charter says that the mayor is essentially sermonic, the face and the voice. This is not a strong mayor form of government. One person is not supposed to control the entire city. The city is broken into 6 districts. Each of those district representatives have one vote. You also have two at-large representatives who have one vote, one voice. But collectively, with a problem like what we are experiencing, we all should lend a voice to it. You know why? Because in that regard, we then will be carrying your voice. So if we're bringing the voices from the first through the sixth districts, and Alderwoman Blakely and I are bringing the voices and the concerns, even some of you have reached out to us with very valid and interesting response or techniques or ways to reduce crime, but we're not able to share it. We're incapable of doing what you sent us to City Hall to do because of the maneuvering and the political vices that are in our way. That is one of the primary contributing factors to crime in our community. Failed leadership. The failure of leadership to galvanize all voices, all talent, and all minds. It is impossible for one person to solve this problem. Listen, it's been a long, long month. As we close out July, just know I will be coming back to you as I'm working on informing our citizens of the millage rate, as we're working on tackling the issue related to people receiving increased water bills, late fees, the billing cycle changing, and crime. I appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you all for your contribution to this young man. Please, please, please like, share. Nothing will do my heart good than to know that he has received enough resource to be able to transition with relative ease, to get food for his children, to stay in a better hotel as they travel, and just to feel like on their last week in Savannah, somebody listened, somebody cared. I'm not doing this by myself. The only way we can achieve anything is together and collectively. So I want to send some collective hope, some collective love. I want to send some collective love to this gentleman tonight. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, and for being with us, and for your faithfulness. Please share, even if it's just a couple of dollars on Cash App. No amount is too small. Again, we don't want anything of ourselves, which is why I didn't put myself in the midst of this. This is going directly to him. We love you, Savannah. We love you, Savannah. Let's stay together. Good night.
like this.